Hello. Good evening, everyone. For those I haven't met yet, I'm Danny Blanda. I'm one of Brad's groomsmen, obviously, and I've been one of his friends for many years. When asked to make a speech tonight, I reflected back on my relationship with Brad and his family that has spanned nearly the past 15 years. And I realized in my reflection that Brad and Kayla's serendipitous moment that transpired in an airport bar in 2013 had actually been fated to happen 6 years prior. See, Brad and I met in 8th grade homeroom. We were assigned seats by last name, so Daniel Blanda sat right behind Stephen Bradley Beaty. And back then, I was a very chatty child, and Brad, lucky for me, was a very good listener. And what's better, because we were assigned seats, he couldn't get up and walk away. So me talking at Brad every day for an entire year is where we began our friendship. Now, homeroom began our school friendship, but the moment that Brad and I began a lifelong friendship happened on our first road trip together, which just so happened to be the weekend of February 4th, 2007, 6 years prior to the two of them meeting. And I remember this because it was the weekend Peyton Manning, Brad's favorite player, won his first Super Bowl. I was playing hockey at the time, and my father had asked if I wanted to take any friends up to a tournament up in North Carolina for the weekend. And so I asked Brad. And so Brad and I began our first car trip together. We crammed Big Brad Beaty into the back seat of a PT Cruiser, and me, my dad, and Brad drove off to Raleigh, North Carolina for the weekend. What that began was a pivotal point in our friendship. Since that weekend, Brad and I have gone on a number of road trips together where we have spent hours upon hours in the car. Whether it was a concert or a college visits across Georgia, trips down to Florida, the two of us would just get in the car and go. Which to me is a big part of who Brad is. He's the type of friend who is always up for an adventure, always ready to go, and if he cares about you, he'll be there in an instant. He prioritizes the ones he loves and cares about you, will always handle a situation with a big old smile, and standing next to him, you feel a little bit taller. And not once in our friendship has Brad ever said no to a journey. Which leads me back to how we got here tonight. In 2013, I was spending the summer with my father in California, and as a joke, I said to Brad, what if you flew into LA and spent the week with me and drove from LA to Atlanta with me and my dad? And within the week, Brad had bought his tickets for the trip. We started our trip in LA, drove to Vegas, to Santa Fe, to Flagstaff, Arizona, to Oklahoma City, to Memphis, Tennessee, and then back down home to Georgia. More than 3,600 miles together. And we dropped off Brad, and there were two things that neither Brad nor I could have predicted. One, it would be 6 years before him and I would go on another adventure together. And two, post-cross-country drive, Brad would be sitting at an airport bar in Denver, Colorado, waiting for his connecting flight back to North Dakota. No one could have ever predicted that Brad would meet his future wife. Had Brad never buckled up back in 2007 into the backseat of that PT, Brad would have not been at that bar at that exact moment. I remember Brad calling me right after and telling me he met someone, but that she lives states away. And now as a friend, I was of course initially skeptical to a long-distance relationship working out. But then I remembered who my friend is. My friend cares about someone, they'll be on the next flight. When my friend cares about someone, he'll meet you in Vegas for the weekend. When my friend cares about you, he'll buy a house with 4 cats, 2 dogs, and 3 roosters. And there's nothing that'll keep him from doing just that. My friend prioritizes the ones he loves, and in his own way, he lets you know that you are loved. It can be years since you last see him, and it'll still feel like a day hasn't passed between you. Now, when I think about the perfect person for Brad, they have to have that love of adventure, a love of history and nature, and someone who can challenge him, but most importantly, lift him up and act as his co-pilot through life. When I finally met Kayla in person, when her and Brad took a trip out to Boston to visit, I realized that she was all those things and more for him. Kayla, you are absolutely perfect for Brad, and he could not have found a better partner to take those next big trips with. I love you both very much, and I ask everyone now to raise their glasses as they begin their next journey. To Brad and Kayla, may you never lose that sense of adventure.